Yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to episode 12 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So in the last episode, we had Edward, Winry, Alphonse. They went over to the automail capital or whatever. They got pickpocketed by a girl. I forget her name already. Sorry. But yeah, so they went over, they kind of dealt with that whole situation. A baby was delivered, which was weird. A little bit weird. Listen, it's not weird, okay, but it was weird for me. Like, how do I react to birth? But yeah, Winry got left behind because she was gonna intern with, or no, she's not interning with Dominic. Dominic is recommending her someone to go intern with. So Winry is staying behind for now, and I'm sure maybe we'll get something with her interning, probably, but not primarily. We got Edward and Alphonse. They're heading over to meet their former sensei, their master. So that's probably what we're going to be doing this episode. Hopefully, we're probably going to get introduced to that character. I'm excited to see what direction they go in. I'm trying to guess early on what kind of person this teacher's going to be. I have a feeling they're probably going to be kind of like Granny, where they're strict but they're loving deep down, you know what I mean? Dominic is kind of like that too. In fact, a lot of adults are in this are kind of like that, now that I think about it. But yeah, if you guys want to see the next episode, episode 13 and episode 14 are live right now on my Patreon. Episode 13 is on the Soul tier and episode 14 is on the Ascended tier. Last week I said the Extended tier. I don't know why I said that. I've said that more than once, I know. I also have a very, very big overdue shout out to both Jax and Scorpio Game King for their support on the Anime Flex God tier on Patreon. That is an incredibly kind, supportive thing that you guys do for me, and I very, very much appreciate it. So sorry I forgot to give out the shout out like the past couple weeks, but there it is. Come to think of it, pretty soon I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting the new opening, which I really don't want. I don't want to see this first opening go away. I love it so much. All right, everybody, let's get into the episode. All right, let's see where this goes now. Episode 12, one is all is one. Oh God, all for one? The guy and the OP. Who are you? I already have a theory on who it is. Is it their dad? Maybe. Yeah, I'm almost sure it is already. Blonde, all blonde like those two.
Yeah.
Clearly they're familiar with him.
Teacher wasn't home.
Oh Jesus. He's gonna be really happy to see him.
Hello, Sig.
Long time no see.
Good to see you. You've grown up a little, huh? Looks like you've grown up more than a little.
Oh,
No one's patted my head like this since back before I lost my body.
that's cute.
Izumi,
They don't
have come for a visit. Do you think you can see them?
They don't know about Alphonse's
I'm
human
feeling a little better today.
transmutation and all that yet.
Lying down? That's not a good sign.
I guess she hasn't gotten any better since last time.
Oh no, she's probably very spry. Yep, I'm pretty full of life. All right, I'm already in. Don't give me this music. Come on. She's probably very
Hello,
nice.
my stupid pupil. I hear you've become one of the military's dogs.
Oh, does she not like the military? It's all an act. It's a front.
You see, it's because
Al? Look at you, you've gotten so big.
Teacher,
She's so nice.
it's really good to see you.
Your skills.
Damn, you'd have to be strong to do that.
I thought that one man from Central knew a good amount about the stone.
So who was this guy?
Let me think. What's his name? Ah, Hohenheim.
Owenheim. Ed knows him.
What is it?
And he's alive.
Someone you know?
Wait.
He's our father.
Oh, okay.
The one who ran out on you when you were little?
Yeah, that's the one.
So, all right, I was right. For a second, his reaction made me
Bastard
second guess
that our
myself.
mother's dead. And if it wasn't for him.
Does Ed blame him because he had the books where he learned how to do this, sort of? Didn't look very nice. Another mysterious father, huh? Attack on Titan flashbacks. Mysterious father that knows too much with the glasses. That vanishes when everything goes wrong.
Did our dad say anything about the Philosopher's Stone?
Something about a lifelong dream coming true. He seemed very happy when he said it.
I get real evil vibes from the dad.
Now we're going to eat.
Okay.
She's cool. I like her. I like the vibes. It's cool seeing strong women characters in anime.
I had a big meal on the train ride here.
Especially ones that are,
should
you
tell
know,
her about Rush Valley,
a
about the
decade
baby
old.
being
Yet another really
Teacher
positive
hasn't
influence,
changed,
strong
has she?
character for them.
Nope. She hasn't changed one bit in all this time.
For as much as they've been through, they're so lucky for the people around them. I mean, it's pretty hard to find a bad influence on them that they've had. Oh, this is probably where they meet her. She's gonna transmute a wall or something to levy the water.
Lady, who are you?
Just a housewife who was passing by.
Interesting. So she's always been sick. Like ever since they've known her, at least.
Hey, old lady, could you be our teacher? Pretty please, old lady.
I'm a little hard of hearing, you see, so I didn't quite catch that. Maybe you'd like to repeat yourselves.
So I'd like to ask a question. Can anyone guess where Ed got his anger for being insulted from? Any clues at all who we might have taken after? But yeah, like I said, it's really cool to see how Ed and Al have had so many like outright positive influences in their lives. Like definitely so many like genuinely wise people that have been around them. Whether it's Winry, Armstrong, Roy, this teacher here. I haven't quite gotten used to her name yet, so cut me some slack on that. I'll probably have it very soon. But yeah, it's no wonder. Like I've talked plenty about how Ed and Al have this sort of like natural prodigy sort of thing going on. But at this point, you kind of gotta attribute some of that to just the influence of people around them, right? I'm sure if they didn't have so many intelligent people that worked so hard and so many good influences on them, they probably wouldn't have turned out to the degree of success that they've had, which I guess could be considered a backfire considering all that happened only because they were so proficient, but I digress. I still think it's funny the episode title being something about like one for all, and then if you haven't seen My Hero Academia, it's not like the character All Might, but if you haven't seen that My Hero Academia, then well, you're probably not missing out on much anyway.
We'll try again.
Please teach us, pretty lady.
No way.
Pretty lady, come on.
I don't take on students. And besides, I'm in the middle of a trip.
But please,
You brats! What about your parents?
Ma'am, these little ones don't have any parents.
Hey, shout out to that guy for being a good
I'm
wingman.
supposed to say no to that.
He literally just gave the Twitter vouch. Follow me on Twitter, by the way.
You two are on your own. This is your introductory training. If you do well, you'll move on to the main training phase. During this first stage, the use of alchemy is totally
I wonder if
forbidden.
this is gonna be like a challenge so
One
hard
is
that she's
all,
trying to make him
and
give
all
up.
is one. You have 1 month to figure out what that means. You
Episode
better
title.
find the answer in the allotted time. If not, you're headed back to Risenburg.
Yeah, like wonder if her goal is to make them give up by giving them a challenge so hard, but their, you know, skill and determination makes her interested. Oh wow, that's pretty risky.
This is the best way for them to learn the essentials of alchemy. I'm teaching them the same way that I was taught. If they don't learn anything from this, it means their talent as alchemists will be limited. And I'll have to give up on them as pupils.
Interesting.
It's not their education I'm worried about. Their lives could be in danger out there.
We're not gonna talk about that.
They're not doing any-
This is not looking very safe anymore. Like actually bad.
Just keep going a little longer.
For the record, when I was young, you know, I did a lot of like survival camp stuff. Starting a fire from nothing is so difficult. We had a challenge where we'd have to start a fire with only 1 match, you know? Very difficult too, but without a match is 30 times harder. Wow, that's generous. I thought they were gonna like
tomorrow will be 1 month.
stab the fox or something too.
Hey, brother. Have you figured teacher meant by one is all and all is one?
You're part of the cycle of nature, maybe.
But I still only have
I don't know.
few vague ideas.
I'm not really sure about this. But do you remember when I was weak from hunger and I ate those ants?
You ate a lot of them.
I sure did. And boy, did they taste nasty. But then that got me thinking. If I hadn't eaten them, I might have died. Then I would have been eaten by them. I'd go into the earth and become grass.
Right.
And the rabbits would eat that.
It's all
You're
connected.
talking about the food chain, right?
Yeah, but it's not just that either. A long time ago, this whole island was probably at the bottom of the sea. And tens of thousands of years from now, it could be the peak of a mountain for all we know.
All things are connected. Is that what you're saying?
Probably take a little bit longer than that, but yeah.
Everyone we meet is caught up in a great unseen flow. But it's bigger than that. It's the entire world, the entire universe even. And compared to something as big as that, Al, you and I are tiny, not even the size of ants. We're only one small part within the much greater flow. Nothing more than a fraction of the whole. But by putting all those ones together, you get one great all, just like teacher said. The flow of this universe follows laws of such magnitude that you and I can't even imagine them.
Very well
Today
said.
is the day.
That's such like a profound way of thinking for someone that's like 10 years old. I mean, ultimately, yes, I pretty much fundamentally agree with everything he said, you know? The universe, when it really comes down to it, is operated by such fundamental laws of such grand scale and magnitude that you and I, the internet, are each one of our problems. The world itself is such an entirely tiny grain of sand on the vast desert of the universe, you know? So in that sense, what he's saying isn't really wrong. But I think it's also really important to understand the like scales of relativity. Everything we judge with our minds and our bodies and our feelings are all kind of on a scale of relativeness. One thing relative to another. What might be some sort of like catastrophic thing for me might be some very, very small, insignificant thing to somebody else. If I was to kick over dead right now, like, yeah, it would be like incredibly terrible for me, obviously, but for the greater scale of the world, nothing would really change at all. Probably nothing would change within even like my local atmosphere for even more than a couple days. That's not to sound nihilistic, but it's really important to understand where you and everything else falls within like the greater system of things, because that's how we define meaning and that's how we define what's important. Having that greater understanding of things within the big picture is not only a good way to ground yourself, but inversely is a great way to sort of appreciate what you have. And it can be a nice reminder not to take everything so seriously.
Today is the day. Let's hear what you've learned about one is all and all is one.
All is the world.
And one is me.
Very well. Now the real training starts.
Okay, well, that's what she was looking for, it seems. Nice.
In order to call upon and harness this power, one must draw a structural matrix over the circle.
She's such a beast. Probably gonna get more of a story about, you know, her upbringing and all that too. Besides the fact she trained out in the wilderness with the bears.
As I suspected, you can transmute without a matrix.
Hmm?
On top of which, Al is now a suit of armor, and 2 of your limbs are made from automail.
Teacher, how did you know?
Please, I can tell from sparring with you. You saw it, didn't you, Edward?
Really? Okay, so that's where we're going with this.
Yes!
It seems both of us are beyond help.
I wonder if she's sick because she's also done something had to do with human transmutation. Maybe like part of her insides was, you know,
You
sacrificed.
saw it too. Could you tell me?
Wow, okay. I did not expect this at all. Yeah. Wonder who she tried to bring back. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess like a miscarriage. I have nothing to lead me to believe that, but
For a while, it seemed we were barren. We wanted a child, but couldn't conceive. When we were finally able to conceive, I ended up falling gravely ill. And our child as well. He was not able to take a living breath in this world.
This is so fucked.
I committed the taboo.
This is so fucking dark. How does this show always do this?
Nah, I did it to myself after all. It hasn't been that big a deal, actually.
Besides, now I've got this long list of things I get to look forward to eating when I have my body back.
Trying to be so optimistic all the time, but they're kind of lying to themselves at the same time.
You darling little idiots. It's okay to hurt.
Right. When you repress things so much, it only makes it worse. Being honest with yourself is such a cruel and difficult thing to do, but it's ultimately the right thing to do.
Teacher,
Please forgive us.
we're so sorry.
Please forgive
We're
us.
so sorry.
This is a really good episode already.
Such magnitude that you and I can't even imagine them.
Let's take this chance to talk about that stuff before we move on past it, because I also don't want to forget about it and forget to mention it later. Okay, so let me bring up some fundamental questions this is making me ask. Maybe they have answered these already, but maybe not. Does everybody that attempts to do human transmutation, do they all see the truth, or whatever you want to call that? Do they meet the god, or whatever? Question number 2, do the people that know how to do alchemy without using a transmutation circle or whatever, do you have to see truth in order to be able to do that, or can you like acquire that knowledge some other way? I don't know exactly how important these questions are, but like it kind of would help me understand some things going forward when I see signs of other people, you know? Because you think if that sort of alchemy could be taught, Ed would teach Al, since Ed knows how to do it. Although it might be one of those things to where it's kind of like almost muscle reflex. Like I can't explain to somebody how to move my arm, right? I just can move it, you know? I can't explain what the color red looks like. It's probably one of those things. It's probably something literally ingrained like within you. You know, it's pretty cool that Ed and Al have somebody to go to, especially Edward. He has somebody to go to that, for all intents and purposes, has experienced almost exactly what he has. Like, I can't think of anybody that's gone through something more similar than Izumi here. And what a lucky thing, you know, with how forbidden and how taboo human transmutation is, to have somebody that's just so connected with them, that's kind of gone through something, who can empathize with them. On a more real note, I think anybody that's gone through something like really tragic or awful within their own lives, even though they probably wouldn't want to wish that like terrible experience upon anybody else, there's some sort of like ingrained solace in the fact that somebody can relate to something you've gone through. Speaking from personal experience, I've always found that like when I go through something really, really hard, even if somebody tells me they've gone through something like that, it's kind of like disconnected to me in some sort of way. I always feel like it's really hard for anybody to understand. I don't think there could quite be something as comforting to Ed as knowing that somebody else out there can understand his level of pain, or even perhaps exceed it in a lot of ways. It's really cool. And I think that there's probably nothing else that would allow them to have such a heart-to-heart conversation as they had. The show really knows how to do it. At this point, though, I'm trying to chalk up like what other kind of awful things there is left to go over in the show. We're 12 episodes in, and we've had things like genocide, human experimentation, child killing, torture, miscarriage, war. I mean, like, what else is there at this point? Jesus. And we're like, what, a fourth through the show? Not even? Unbelievable.
That's what alchemy is, brother.
You're right. It's also what living
Alright, so this is where the lesson comes in.
So the basis of alchemy, deconstruction and then reconstruction, is just like the food chain then, isn't it?
Like when you eat a rabbit and your body breaks down its flesh, then it's restructured as part of yourself.
Right.
Even before that, the rabbit restructured the grass it ate into part of its own body.
I mean, at a molecular level, we are all kind of just like composed of the same elements as everything around us, right? It's just the structure of how we're put together. Everything is essentially one in that sort of way. All life is carbon, you know? Alright, well there you go, episode 12. Another pretty solid episode all around. I definitely think I like this one more than the last one. This one definitely feels a little bit more interconnected with the overall plot and story. So a couple more interesting things about this episode. We got to sort of get our first glances at Ed and Al's father. We didn't really get too much on that, but the general sentiment is that Ed, at least Ed, we don't know about Al for sure, but Ed definitely blames what happened to their mother on their father. We haven't gotten the specific reasons on that, but they're aware that he's alive, which doesn't seem to surprise them too much. We also got to meet Sig and Izumi, their former teacher, who has a pretty tragic but equally interesting story where she as well met truth. She as well attempted and failed human transmutation for reasons sort of similar, having felt that someone was taken unfairly from them. I think it's really cool how even though these people have had such terrible things happen to them, they've sort of remained strong and resilient despite it, and they haven't given up or turned to like evil or anything, which I feel like is a pretty common anime trope, which yet again this show is capable of rising above, you know, and not falling to sort of cliches like that. I hope Izumi is like a greater part of the story. I mean, I know she's gonna have her purpose in sort of like keeping them here, but I really hope that we get more from her. I like the whole like teacher-student relationship sort of thing going on here. I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it's probably one of the most effective ways to propel Ed and Alan into like the right direction, you know? Overall, another really solid episode. For the record, I always keep checking if there's an after credit scene, and there hasn't been one for a little while now, but I'm on the lookout. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week when the next episode drops, or you could go check the Patreon for the next episodes right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Later.